Shop smart, shop S-smart.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book.
Stop it, Echo. I am your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is longtime friend of the channel, first-time guest on New Book, who is Mr. Chad Townsend. How you doing, homie?
I am your co-host for this evening.
That's right. That's right. Gonna cause some mischief and mayhem tonight on New Book Who Dis.
Right. Debauchery.
That's right. I'm going to have a grand old time. But yeah, man, thanks for coming to hang out tonight. It was cool having you on Topic List the other night, and you've got an awesome new book out that we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate being here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, man. You know, this show, as we were talking about backstage, the name for this show kind of came about out of necessity. Because I was asked to do a promo show for somebody, and I didn't have anything set up for it, so I just kind of came up with New Book Who Dis. And you know, I had always intended to change the name to something else, but the name kind of fits. It kind of works.
It just stuck.
Yeah, it just kind of stuck, and here we are.
It's fun and it's humorous, so there you go.
Yep, it's definitely an internet-ism.
Right.
But you know that works. It grabs the eyeballs. You know.
Yeah, my eyeballs are grabbed.
gets the attention of the younger generation. Before we get too far, we'll go ahead and say hello to the chat here. Jason, Unhinged, says, "Hey everybody, where did Mary go? He's still looking for Mary. She might be running away from you, dude." Edwin says, "What's up?" He says, "Hail peeps, what's up, Edwin? Good to see you, man." Omen Screaming Raven, hello Unhinged everyone. Edwin Hale, it's my beautiful lady. Skull, gorgeous.
Oh yeah, I think she follows me on Twitter.
Yep, she tries to keep abreast of everybody. All the talented people we hang out with over here. She'll be with me at Heroes Con up in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So you got approved for a table.
Well, I'm going with Shattermare Comics. Yeah, they got approved for a table a while back. I think he set it up last year because we were there, and he wanted to make sure that we got a end cap booth this year. So yeah.
I'm on the
so
wait
as far
list.
as I know,
I'm on the wait list, and I guess they're opening it up in March. So
okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so I hope I get in there. Phil Diaz, I think, may be getting a table. I don't know.
Yeah, he was there last year sharing table space with Joe Catapano.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good show last year, man. If you can come to Heroes, it's gonna be fun on the bun.
It's a con I've always wanted to do for years, or just visit since I was a kid, because it's basically one of those legacy shows that have been around for ages.
Oh yeah,
I remember it in ads in the comic book price guide every year. So
yeah, it is one of the few like comic centric shows still left in the country.
Right.
So yeah. Headless Bourgeoisie says, backed Holy Terror #1 earlier today. Loved the first Black Phantom comic. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for doing
Absolutely.
that.
That's awesome, man. Appreciate you, Headless. Thank you. But yeah, man, if you can get into Heroes Con, it's a heck of a show. It's very comic centric. Lots of comic creators there. Indie Isle is just awesome. There are so many indie creators there. It's a beautiful thing.
I haven't been to a convention that focused in ages. However, last year I attended just for the heck of it. I wanted to see what GalaxyCon was like in Austin. So they're never in the same city every year. And I was really floored at how many like well-known comic creators they had as guests there at the show. So
Yeah.
I might be checking out New Orleans this year.
Really? Is that where it's going to be this year?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I want to branch out to more conventions. Start doing more shows. Because we have this new technology, which is, great, being able to do these shows and talk to people live and, have our YouTube channels and live streams and connect directly. But being able to meet somebody in person, shake their hand, look them in the eye, it's a whole different thing. Being able to pick up books in person and talk, I mean, that's the whole point of conventions, in my opinion, anyway. You want to meet the people that are making this cool shit that you're enjoying reading.
Right.
You want to say, hey, thank you. I really enjoy this. Thank you for making it.
I'm going to be going forward. I'm going to be more particular about the conventions I attend.
Yeah.
Or table at, basically.
Yeah.
I've been to like a lot of big conventions, and it just was not even worth my time and effort.
Some of them are.
And I'm not saying I got to be making bank like crazy bank, but it would be nice to at least pay for the table, and I have not had that in years, really. So
oh wow, okay. Yeah, being able to make enough to pay for your table and maybe a little on top so that you can pay for some of the exorbitant con food that you're inevitably going to go eat.
I pretty much look at it like it's a social event for me too, just to get out.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a networking thing as much as it is a business opportunity as well. But being able to get because there are some people that just aren't paying attention to like this sector of the indie sphere.
Right.
Paying attention to indie comics that don't show up in the comic shop. I mean, the crowdfunded sector. When but there's a whole subsection of people out there that don't actually pay attention to the crowdfunding scene. So being able to go to conventions and get those people introduced to more indie books is a good thing. And sometimes the only way to do that is a convention.
I say get people on your mailing list is super important. I during Free Comic Book Day, I used it as an opportunity to get rid of tons of prints I'm just not really selling anymore.
Right.
And just say, listen, free print if you sign up for my mailing address. And that's how I did it. So
heck yeah, that's a great idea, man. Instant reward.
Yep.
Bourgeoisie says you're more likely to get customers at smaller cons as an indie. This is correct. A lot of the bigger shows, because they have so many names there, people are going to go spend their money on the names rather than some unknown. However, I have noticed that if you have a book or two that they can pick up with content inside, they do want to pick up new books. Right. They are curious about trying a new comic book. It's when you're just trying to sell just artwork that you have a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, when it's comic conventions look like Etsy stores now,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean nothing wrong with that though. A lot of different creative endeavors out there.
I just remember even I'm guilty of it, and a friend of mine was pretty on board early on. He was one of the first guys I knew to ever do the prints, at a convention.
Right.
And he had the massive wall of prints, and he even got to a point. At one point, he had like 4 tables of nothing but just a wall of prints.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and that's how it grew. But I've seen it. I've seen it go that route, and then more people started showing up, and they're all undercutting each other.
Yeah.
And even to the point where I've seen people where they'll just buy in bulk tons of prints from China with artwork on it that isn't even there.
Yeah.
And just like blow out a whole booth and undersell everybody at the convention to the point where prints aren't even a viable thing at conventions much anymore. People are burned out on it, and I just kind of went, I want to have books at my
Yes.
table.
Yep. I still sell prints, and I do have the print wall behind me. I've got a 10 by 10 backdrop that I hang my prints on, or that I'm going to be hanging my prints on. That's
Right.
a new
I'm not
addition this
saying,
year.
I'm saying you can still make money at it. I'm just saying I'm seeing it turn the other way now where people aren't buying them as much.
Oh, no, I agree. I was having issue selling prints while they were sitting in the book. I have noticed more success with them being up on a wall behind me for people to see and they can point at. But you are absolutely correct. People want books. They want something to hold in the hand that they can interact with, that they can, they can read, or at least look at the pictures inside that they can flip through.
I remember back in the day, like in the late 80s, early 90s, when you go to a comic convention, any artist in an artist alley had their own books of some sort, and now it's kind of hard to find. I used to make it my mission every San Diego Comic-Con to go find indie books at all the different tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The indie sphere, like you said, used to be full of. I mean, that was the late 80s. You said that was like the black and white indie boom.
Yeah.
Everybody had a book. But I've seen a lot of people in Artist Alley that are just there selling, their artwork, which is fine. If you want to pay the money to do the the whole convention thing. But I feel like there's a lot more response if there's a book attached. People want a story. They want to, they want to get to know the characters and they want to go on an adventure. And I think that's what people are looking for rather than just an image.
Right.
Even if the image is really good. So.
Yeah, I remember, like I've been collecting comics since 1981. I was 10. Let's see, 9, 10. I was 8 years old when I started going to a comic shop.
Yeah,
and I was reading them even before that. But I remember, like in the early 90s, the Spirits of Independence tour. Have you heard of that?
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah,
it was Dave Sim, Kevin Eastman, and a bunch of different guys did a tour and did like a mini con around the country, and they advertised it in all the indie books. And the cool thing that they did was every city that they went to, they featured not themselves, but the indie comic artists that lived in that city.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really neat. So you got like a wide range of different people back then.
Yeah, it was a different industry back then. It was we're connected by technology theoretically, but it seems like we're disconnected as far as communication wise more these days.
I think social media has really changed a lot in the last 10 years. I was talking about this the other day with somebody, even today. Instagram, when they got bought by Facebook, something changed as far as social media goes. Like it used to be a lot easier to be seen and have a lot more eyes on you. And when that flipped, now it feels like I'm fighting for breadcrumbs just for people to even notice. And I don't know if it's an algorithm thing or people are just burned out on social media now. And
a little bit of both, I'm sure. A little bit of both. There's a lot more noise now. The bar to entry is a lot lower. But no matter what, the cream still rises to the top.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
I've been on X or Twitter since 2009, and
same.
Not that it's not a brag or anything, or it's not a complaint. I'm just saying I'm still stuck at the number of followers I've had since about 2009. You know what I mean? I haven't seen any growth.
Yeah, no, I've been around the same for a while, but I've been on there since 2009 as well.
Yeah,
same screen name since 2009.
Right.
Yeah. It's very, very different website now than it was eons ago.
Right.
Yeah. Headless Bourgeoisie says, I'm one of the weirdos that actually looks for new comics creators at shows. I'm looking for books like you're saying. Prints are cool, but I'm there for comics.
Yep.
Totally understand, man. Screaming Raven says, definitely true. Headless shows are the best place to find new comics and creators. As for prints, personally, that's how I have been turned on to new comics and creators and such. There you go, man. Yeah. So having a combination of the two things, books definitely tend to sell better because people like having something in the hand they can read, that they can thumb through. What's up, Jonas? Thanks for coming to hang out with us, man. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, I'm hoping that that more and more, smaller indie shows. Like last year, I went to a show out in Palatka that was just this tiny little show put on by a local comic shop that is, it was in a church rec room,
Right.
and it was a cool little show, Palatka Comic Con. I did better at that show than I did at some of the bigger shows that we've been to.
Interesting.
Yeah, MegaCon this past year. It literally just ended this past weekend,
Right.
but I went the year before, and it was fun and all. It was cool to be at the really big show, but I didn't really sell much of anything. And MegaCon has definitely become more about anime and manga than comic books, even though they still have a heck of a lineup for comic book creators. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's more about the voice actors and the anime and the cosplay and all that it is comics. So yeah, Heroes Con is probably going to be the only like big convention that I do this year. But there's going to be a few other littler shows around that I want to do.
Maybe I should like advertise having done voice acting instead of like
Right.
comics.
I mean,
'Cause
I'm thinking about it.
Well, I've done voice acting. I worked for a Japanese anime studio in the early 2000s, so I've
Nice.
got a list of credits.
Yeah.
So maybe I should go off of that instead of.
I'm just saying, man. Do both. Voice actor in this classic anime, and also comic book creator.
Yeah, like
Yep.
Vic Mignogna. I've known Vic Mignogna for 20 years now, I guess.
Oh damn! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Voice acting is always something that I always wanted to do as well. If I couldn't do comics, I wanted to do voice acting just because it's fun.
Are you in, what state are you in?
I'm in Florida.
Yeah. See, the two big anime sub and dub places
What's
are
up,
in
Pedro?
Texas. So one's up in Dallas, which Funimation, and then in Houston it used to be ADV, and now I can't remember what they're called anymore.
Oh yeah, I remember ADV.
But that's who I worked for. But
Nice.
Yeah, they hire people that are pretty much local in the area. Sometimes people will fly in for gigs
Right.
out of their own pocket, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I've done voiceover narrations for trailers and stuff like that. I've worked with Pedro here quite a bit.
Right.
I did the voiceover for the Frog G trailer and stuff like that. So I've done a little bit of stuff. But yeah, it'd be fun, fun to do the characters. And
I guess what I was getting at. So the studio that was ADV, I can't remember their name, but once a year they do open auditions for people that haven't done it before, because they're always scouting new talent. So
heck yeah,
look into it, people.
I will. I'm going to because that would be a hell of a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why we're here is we're here to talk about your new book. We're here for comics, man. Like Omen, Screaming Raven, and Headless Bourgeoisie at comic conventions. We're here for comics, man. So give us a little bit of background on Black Phantom. Like, where did this character come from for you?
So when I was a teenager, I created this character, Black Phantom, and he's like it originally started out like as a privateer, a pirate kind of thing. It was themed that way with a skull and crossbones and that. But eventually it evolved and changed. I wrote and tried drawing the Rocket's Red Glare like several times, and I
Yeah.
never ever finished it because you know how you get in that headspace, which happens to every new creator. You want it to be the best it possibly can be, but
Right.
by doing that, you're really hurting yourself because then you're not finishing it if you keep redoing your stuff over and over again and trying to refine it. It's
Yeah.
you really need to just finish something and then go and finish another something. And I tended not to do it. So I ended up through my career in video games and animation, and I got the experience as an
Hey,
artist.
miss, good stuff.
But anyway, this character's progressed over this period of time. I got really sick during COVID and got
damn.
pneumonia and went in the hospital for like 28
Oh, wow.
days. And I nearly died. And
Holy shit.
That's when I just kind of went, you know, what am I waiting for? Like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with me? Why am I just wasting my time? You know, I keep saying I want to do it. Why? Who? You know how it is. You talk a big talk, but you never walk the walk, kind of thing. Well, I
Right.
just decided I'm gonna walk the walk and actually just do it. And so I finished Black Phantom, the Rocket's Red Glare, and it wasn't so bad. You know, it was actually once I was done, I was really happy with it. It was a lot of hard work, but so anyway, Black Phantom's like this dude that is um, kept alive by the skeleton key that's hung around his neck,
Mm-hmm.
and he's basically a dead guy with a curse. And the skeleton key, if he controls these bloodworms that are flowing through his body, so if he has an arm or a limb ripped off or he gets shot or whatever, the worms will come and heal him. So he like
Wow.
if anybody saw Rocket's Red Glare, there's a scene where his arm literally gets ripped off by the bad guy, Horn Toad, and Black Phantom just beats the crap out of him with his own arm, you know, like so that's basically his power. So if he's separated from the key, then he's just a useless, lifeless corpse.
Right.
And,
Take the key and he becomes a corpse
Right.
again. Damn. Okay.
so the first book was something I wrote like when I was 16. It was about him going and finding the V1 rockets that
Mm-hmm.
the Nazis were building during World War II, and his mission was just to go to the location and light up the location so the bombers could see it and drop bombs on it. This mission is basically it's about him trying to get a hold of the Spear of Destiny, and he
Mm-hmm.
does at the very beginning of the book. But a general who's hell bent on just going after Russia and taking over Russia because he sees them as the next enemy, gets a hold
Mm-hmm.
of the spear. And the spear, as far as lore goes, has been passed from like leader to leader throughout generations, and they just
Right.
basically become kind of evil, but are able to go conquer armies and whatnot with this spear. So yeah, this general gets a hold of the spear, and it's his mission to go after him. So there it
Heck
is.
yeah. I mean, it's sounds like a high flying adventure, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there's a couple new villains getting introduced, and a new sidekick, which is Gremlin. I've had Gremlin for a long time. I pitched Black Phantom in 2005 to all the studios in animation, and I almost sold it twice
wow.
to, and it was really to BET animation, BET television,
Yeah.
and that was my closest to selling it. But I'm kind of glad now, looking back, that I didn't.
Yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
was
now you get to cultivate it. You get to create it,
right.
and you know, we're seeing a boom in indie comics. You know, there's a lot of eyes over in the indie sector, the indie sphere, and yeah, I feel like we're going to see the same thing for animation. I feel like we're going to see the same thing for independent film
Yeah.
creation as well. I think a lot of people are done with the studio system, and the fact that we can, everybody basically has a level playing field with all of the technology that we have. We can make this stuff ourselves now. We don't need big studios to fund it. All you need is a dedicated team that's willing to put the effort into it, and you can make something truly fucking amazing.
Yeah, you just have to have the personal drive to just do it and finish something. And that brings me to something else. If you scroll down, there's a section on here that if you scroll down to why should you support me? I think it's not just me, but for anybody indie, if you don't mind reading that.
Supporting creator-owned books means empowering artists, not corporations. It leads to better stories, better art, and ensures creators reap the rewards of their success. When you back independent comics, you help build a future where artists own their work, and that means more bold, original, and exciting stories for everyone.
Yeah.
That is correct, 100%.
So yeah, I wrote that not just for me, but for anybody in indie comics. Support. If you like if something looks cool, support it. Because if you can keep an artist doing it over and over again, they're gonna get better and grow, and be better. So yeah, get out there and support people.
Screaming Raven says, okay, more and more I look at the details on the Kickstarter page. Am I the only one that feels this characters would be great as models and or figures?
Yes. It would be. And I actually may have an action figure in the next year or two.
Apparently this picture is what made Screaming Raven think about that. That would make a fucking dope figure, dude.
Thanks.
He would definitely make a fucking cool action figure to have on the shelf. So, heck yeah, man.
I had a sculptor looking at the head. He was trying to do the head recently, and I had to do some extra drawings for it. So yeah. So I hope we do see a Black Phantom figure in the near future, man. That would be fucking awesome. It's looking like it could be a possibility, maybe in a year, maybe 2 years. We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse.
Right.
But I'm planning for it.
Right. Well, I mean, you plan for your success, man. You're introducing the character. This is the second outing, and people are getting more familiar with the character. He's got a good design. People like the character, and the more people like the character, the more they want merch. They want T-shirts, they want hats, they want figures. And I mean, look at the. Other people are making figures. I mean, PTP and Mark Bolton just did their, U.S. Assassin and American Ninja, I think it was.
Yeah, I think that's going to blow up a lot bigger than people think right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those are good-looking figures, too.
He's got surprises, in his pocket.
That's fucking rad, man. This is the kind of shit that gets me excited about the indie sector. We can do this shit now, and it will look good. Some of this stuff may be, a little more boutique items, but if you're going to spend, a bunch of money on a corporate thing when instead you could spend that money with an independent creator that is making things of their own, that's DIY, man. That's supporting, the indie sphere. I would much rather do that. Corporations have gotten enough of my money. I'd rather spend it with the little guys now.
Right.
To me, it's the equivalent of shopping locally. You're shopping within your your community, basically.
Some of my all-time favorite comics are more on the indie side, and I could name off several that were that are some that are still kind of an influence to me. I will always love the first 8 issues of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
I love the first couple issues of Evil Ernie that came out.
Yeah.
And a book that probably too many people haven't read is Zot by Scott McCloud.
Yeah, man. Zot.
I love the first 8 issues of that series. when I was a kid, I just could not wait for the next book to come out. So, yeah, I don't know. Why did I bring that up? I don't know.
Because indie comics have been part of your influence. They're, it's all come together to help, this come to be what it is. These are, it's a melting pot of influences that all came together to create the Black Phantom.
Right. It's interesting too when people look at Black Phantom. They tell me it reminds them of Scud.
Oh yeah, a little bit. The line work, I can totally see that. The wiry, the wiry outline of the figure, plus the very energetic line style that you have. Yeah, I can totally see that. Fucking love Scud, man. Scud's great.
Yeah, it is cool. Yes, you can get the previous Black Phantom and Kid Squid as add-ons. The only add-on I have for Kid Squid is a limited edition variant of only 100. So
shit!
There's only 75 available as an add-on. So the first printing on the last campaign sold out. I've only got 39 copies out of 500 left.
That's fantastic.
I'm probably gonna keep hold of 25 for myself and my family,
right,
and then trickle out the remaining books.
All right. Well, you heard him. If you want a copy of Kid Squid, you best get it on the campaign. Otherwise, you may not be able to get it. Unless he decides he wants to sell one of them 25, and then the price is going to be a lot higher.
Well, this is just a limited variant. It's a white cover variant that's available. So
well, there we go.
Yep.
Zaid, what's up, Phil? He says, "Hey boys, good to see you, Phil. Thanks for joining us, sir."
I think I'm gonna be on Phil's show this Friday, maybe.
Awesome. Gonna be on Hardline.
Yeah.
Awesome. Feline says, "Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Please listen to the wise flying feline. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. Still trying to get over 600 subscribers.
Smash the boops and the beeps.
All that fun, algorithm tickling YouTube stuff."
Tickling. I like the tickling word.
Oh yeah, the algorithm likes to be tickled. Just gotta do it gently though.
So Black Phantom, Holy Terror is gonna be a Holo-chrome cover, just like.
Fucking cool. Now that's the first one that you're holding up, right? That's the first Black Phantom. Okay.
So
I like that kind of stuff, man. That's awesome.
Did I freeze up?
Only momentarily. You're frozen now, it looks like.
All right. So this book will be available as an add-on as well for $10.
Ooh. Holy crap.
I picked it up. And the cover you're showing right now is the glow-in-the-dark variant, which is $20. It's a little more.
Dude, that is fucking cool.
Yeah. So an all glow-in-the-dark cover for $20.
I fucking like it, man.
Thank you.
And homage to that famous Mark Texiera Ghost Rider cover.
Yep, number
Love
15.
It. Number 15, yep. I remember seeing that issue and then pulling it out of the bag and feeling like the textured glow in the dark. Yeah, it's some cool shit, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see that one.
I can't wait to see it as well. But not so many people are backing that one.
Really?
So I may end up just printing only 100 of these.
You heard him. If you want a very rare run, limited print run cover, go ahead and back that one.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be low. If it's gonna be 100, 200 maybe, but I was originally thinking I was gonna.
What's up, Tim?
I was gonna print about 600 of them, but
right. Hey man, market dictates, and for those that back the glow in the dark cover, it's just a little extra special, like cherry on top. Hey, there's only like 100 of these, so.
Yep, and then
you got some sketch cover variants.
Yeah, those are sketch cards or sketch cover.
Nice. Man, those are great sketch cards, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, and sketch covers, man. I've come to very much like sketch covers over the last few years, mostly because I have a lot of fun drawing on them.
Right.
And they're I think they're a nice combination of commission and comic book. You know, you can get a comic book, but it's also got, you know, a piece of original artwork on it. And I've had a lot of fun making some sketch covers over the last few years.
Yep, I did about 25 of those last campaign or first campaign. And
Welcome, Flip City Magazine.
About 55 sketch cards the first campaign.
Wow, that's a lot of sketch cards, yo.
Yeah, I did. I had fun though. I did it in a weekend. I just sat and watched cartoons and TV and
Yes, that sounds like a fucking fantastic weekend.
It was great.
Just sat and watched cartoons. I mean, you know, an artist in his element, watching cartoons and drawing and inking. Yes, it sounds amazing.
So yeah, get something a little special.
Yeah, get some original artwork with your comic book. Come on. All right, so there's the list of add-ons. Holy Terror #1, the Rocket's Red Glare #1.
Yeah.
The first book, you can get the sketch cover, and they still got the acrylic standees. How many of those acrylic standees do you have left?
I think I've got about 50 of these left.
Oh, so there are not a whole lot of them. Get them while you can.
I had to go back and do a count just to double check so I don't accidentally sell more than I have. But
those turned out really good.
Thanks.
So they got the glow-in-the-dark variant, custom sketch cards for $40, and a sketch cover art variant for only $100. That's a steal. Holy crap. That is awesome.
And I'm happy to say, like the last campaigns that I had, the last 2 books,
the
books are complete. I just got to put together the print file and send it off to the printer. And yeah, hopefully you won't have to wait very long. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get my books from the printer. And then I'll start shipping them out. So that would probably be about 3.5 to 4 months before you start seeing books.
So not long at all that you will have to wait to get this book. Screaming Raven wants to know if you can show the standee again.
Oh, yeah, sure. And
there you go.
It's double-sided. So it's
your camera froze.
I did. Dang it.
Yep.
Sorry. My computer's not so great for streaming as far as...
Your computer's throwing a fit.
Yeah.
But it's a 6-inch tall double-sided standee, Screaming Raven.
Yep. I will... now that you made me think, I'm going to go throw this image on that page there.
It's a good idea.
Yep.
Let people get a look at it. It's kind of like this image, but not exactly. Oh, it is that image.
It is.
Okay, so this image put in an acrylic standee that came out super crisp and clear.
Exactly. I was really shocked at how fine a detail they got. Yeah. So if I reach, I know it's a really high goal, and I'm not totally expecting to hit it, but I would love it. If I could hit 24K, I will be doing another standee to give away for free of of the villain Horntoad from Rocket's Red Glare. So
there you go. That's fucking cool.
He'll be 7 inches tall and way wider than this standee.
Well, it's got to be in proportion with Black Phantom. So yeah.
That's the only reason why I'm not automatically doing it off the bat this time. Is because it's going to cost a lot more to make a bigger standee.
Right. Well, there's more acrylic at stake there, you know. So that's understandable.
Yep.
I really like that glow in the dark cover. That is fucking dope, man.
Thanks. My pity, she wants to be in the see her.
She's like, what are you doing? You got to pay attention to me.
I know.
Can I hang out? I love you.
She knows I'm talking to somebody.
Well, all I know is you're not paying attention to me, and that can't happen. You need to pay attention to me. I'm right here.
She's going to be a year old here next month.
Aw, puppy. So how many Black Phantom stories do you have in you, man? Like
I have the plot to 14 of them written.
Holy crap!
Yep.
That's awesome.
I have I've been writing them for years, so I will not run out of Black Phantom stories for a while. I actually have an entire arc that I want to do of Black Phantom getting totally ripped apart by basically the Chinese version of Captain America, Captain China. I want him to get ripped apart, and then his body parts are in labs in different secret layers around the world. They're trying to dissect him and figure out how to create more like him.
Right.
And then Gremlin has the skeleton key, which he can use to help find the body parts, and he goes on a mission to find his body and stitch him back together again.
Wow.
Yep.
Gruesome.
So it'll be like a boss fight in every lair that he encounters.
Wow.
Yep.
So this is a series that you guys can safely invest in and know that you're going to get years and years of stories to come. So you can get invested in this character and actually know that you're going to get more because he's got the stories in mind.
Oh yeah, I've got all the plots with the beginning, middle, and end all written out, and yep.
What's up, Dr. Masks? Welcome.
Retro Elixir.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to hang out with us, man. That's exciting. The fact that you've got that many stories. Now, is this going to be the beginning of a universe? Do you have other characters within this universe you want to do stories about, or do you have other things, or is just the thing you want to work on?
I want to say yes, but it feels kind of weird saying, "Yeah, this is my universe." Welcome to my world.
Right.
Thing, it feels kind of goofy to me in that sense, but yes, I want all my characters to be able to interact with each other at some point, So I'm not keeping that out of the pipeline.
Right.
I've got another Kid Squid I want to do after this Black Phantom miniseries, and the villain from that is this little girl named Pandora that I'm dying to do a book with.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's what I like to hear from creators. I came up with this character for this story, and I really can't wait to get this story going.
Right.
Want to do a book with this character. That's how the person that's making this is doing it for the right reason, because they have this story that they really want to tell, and it needs to come out.
It's like I'm gonna start drawing. I'm actually not drawing. I'm gonna this next week, I'm going to start doing all the thumbnails to issue 2 of this miniseries, and I want to try to have it finished by June so I could launch the next campaign in July.
Nice.
But I can't wait to get into the next issue because I'm introducing a new hero.
Oh.
Who is basically this immortal that has lived forever, and he has a curse on him where he gets mauled by a lion every night, continuously.
Holy shit.
So he's scarred from head to toe, and his clothes are in tatters. And then I'm going to introduce a team, a G.I. Joe Russian team called, I'm not going to tell the name, but it's like a all-female Russian G.I. Joe team that's going to get introduced next issue.
Wow.
And you also see a full body shot of the villain. He appears at the very end of the first issue, and his name is Negaton. So I can't wait to start putting these things all together.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
You're also gonna get a little bit deeper into the Black Phantom's powers and just a hint of his origin, in the next book.
So slowly unwinding the story by taking us on adventures with Black Phantom. It almost gives me a little bit of a Hellboy vibe in the way you're unwinding the stories.
Yep, I don't want to do it I want to do small, readable stories.
Yeah.
Although I know I'm doing a mini series now, and the only reason I'm doing doing it like this is because I don't want to like work on it a whole year and finally do a campaign and then everybody forgets about me and my characters. You know?
Right.
So I just want to try to put out an issue. Right now, I just want to put out 2 issues this year, and next year I want to see if I can't really push myself and do it 3, maybe 4 issues.
Put out a quarterly issue in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
I mean, that's amazing, man. I mean, you know, body in motion stays in motion. The biggest hurdle is getting started.
but
So
you're right.
heck yeah,
It
man.
is kind of like Hellboy in the sense that I want to tell small stories
Right.
that I can feasibly manage. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like go ahead.
Screaming Raven says, consider it invested in and backed.
Oh, thank you, Screaming Raven. Yeah, it's just kind of like I tell this to a lot of people that they all come. They say, yeah, you know how, like I was talking about talking the talk. A lot of guys say, yeah, I got this great idea, and it's gonna be this massive epic, and it's gonna be blah blah blah, X amount of pages. Like Joe Ball's got a 300-page epic that I want. Dude,
That's a lot of fucking pages,
like,
man. 300
like,
pages? That is a lot of damn pages.
Good for you if you finish it. But you know what? If I put that kind of pressure on me, I'm not going to fucking finish it. But I know I can finish. But I know I can do a 24-pager. You know
right?
What I mean?
Yeah. Dr. Mass says, so many times I had to go back and reread the first one. Loved the first one. What's up, Maromi?
I hope you liked Kid Squid, by the way, because I know a lot of people said they were really surprised at how they enjoyed it, you know. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard nothing but good stuff about Black Phantom and Kid Squid. Dr. Mask is asking any thoughts on hiring another artist to enable you to put out more issues?
Yes, that's something I want to do in the future. So, like, right now, I'm trying to, everything I earn from these campaigns go back into that. I don't touch it whatsoever. So the money, I actually made a profit off my first campaigns.
Excellent.
With Black Phantom. So that money is going to coffers for the future. So I hope to.
It's a good idea.
I hope to like spread the wealth and hire some artists. You know.
Heck yeah. Reinvesting in yourself, your company, and also the indie community that you exist in. You know, this indie sector. You know, because this is indie comics, man. This is what we do.
I don't have the kind of aspirations where, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the next Dark Horse or something. Like I don't I want to get big, but I don't ever want to be that big. I want it to be manageable kind of thing, you know, where I'm still having fun.
Yeah. Big enough to support you and, you know, the people that you hire to do the work. And, you know, still small enough to manage and for it to still be fun for everybody.
Yep. So there you go.
I can 100% get behind that.
So eventually I want to start putting like little short stories as add-ons or single issue books as add-ons to my main campaigns.
What up, J-Bot?
So I can try
yo, sup, homies.
Provide value for the amount for the money that people invest.
Absolutely.
For the books. You know. That's kind of why my book is $10. I don't want to charge somebody $25 for a 24-page comic. At least it's going to cost a little bit more, but you're going to pay $6 now on a book at the comic shop.
Yes, you are. For 22 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make it as affordable as I possibly can. So I'm thinking if more people come along and show up for a $10 book, I'll be fine, you know.
Yep, can sell more of a $10 book than you can a $25 book.
Right.
You know, I get the logic behind that for sure.
Yeah. That's why the first campaign I gave away 2 books and the standee for the $25 that I had.
Yeah. It's a hell of a deal, man.
Right.
You know, especially considering those standees are not cheap to get made.
No, they were actually more expensive than the books.
It doesn't surprise me. Acrylic is expensive, man. But that's awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so happy to hear that it got reinvested into the company, and that there are thoughts about expanding further on down the line.
But I think my only setback is myself. So that's it. Like, how driven am I? So
Right.
So how often I put out stuff is what I think is going to make a difference to me.
Yeah. Well, consistency. People really like that, and I think it's a good idea to maintain a view in the public sphere, so people can see you and see that you're working on something. So you're constantly reminding people that this character, your company, still exists, and I think that's part of doing conventions as well. Obviously, conventions need to be profitable. If you're going to put in the time, effort, and energy and the money to go to a show, you need to be able to make that money back at least.
I've noticed going to conventions, though, the people that do buy my books, it's a different kind of fandom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, there are people that want to buy comics that are interested in them that aren't normal comic collectors at conventions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe online than it is in person. In person, people are just, a lot of people, maybe they're still going to the comic shop, or they're ordering from, a website to get their comic books or something like that. And they're not paying attention to crowdfunding books on, Kickstarter or Indiegogo or Fund My Comic or anything like that, just because they don't know. But they go to conventions and they love discovering new books they've never seen before, and then they get plugged into this whole sphere of indie creators making good books and telling good stories.
Yeah.
So
I really want people to buy my book to read it.
Yes.
And appreciate it. Like, I've encountered people at conventions go, "Oh, I'm never gonna open it or read it. I'm just gonna keep it in the bag," And I'm like, "No,
but
please.
It's meant to be read.
It is meant to be read." But at the same time, I'm doing like the Holo-chrome and the book I can't explain it. I'm trying to put the best art and story I possibly can for the value and offer the collectability at the same time.
I mean, you could always do like a reader copy,
Right.
Do it on slightly cheaper paper, not do the holofoil cover.
You're right. I'm looking into a local newspaper printer.
Yeah.
So I can do I want to eventually do a bundle where you can, for like $10, you get 5 issues of my book, so you can give them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get them printed on newsprint.
Right.
Heck yeah. There is something. I mean, I love Alternus books for that exact reason. He still prints on newsprint, and just the smell of the ink and the newsprint, it takes me back.
It does, and it gets on your fingers. And
Yep. Yeah, there's something very, very visceral and real about it. Dr. Mask says, I think people still have a hard time pulling the trigger on a $25 book, at least most normies. I agree. J-Bot says, I do, LOL.
It is hard to pull the trigger for a lot of people.
Yep. Moromi says he has no problem walking away because he pays attention to prices.
Right.
Black Phantom with the holofoil cover is clearly meant to be rolled up and put in your back pocket, says Dr. Mask.
I think he means the newspaper, maybe, but...
Oh, yeah, he probably does. Yeah. Old newspaper, newsprint comics, they were meant to be rolled up and stuffed into your back pocket. But that's why so many of them are in such bad shape now.
Yep.
Going to the comic shop isn't the same. You go to a convention, you can interact with the artist and creator. You get that something extra, the icing on the cake. Completely agree, Screaming Raven. That's one of my favorite things about going to conventions, is being able to meet the people that have made these books that you really enjoy. Get to find out what inspired them. Get to talk to people. Some of my favorite conversations at a Comic-Con have not been about comics. You know, whenever I see Brian Polito at a convention, you know, we end up talking for an hour about music. You know, same with Greg Capullo. You know, I started asking him questions about his guitars that he had posted on Twitter, you know, forever ago, and we started talking about music and Zach Wilde and all kinds of shit like that. So, I mean, it's being able to interact with people on a personal level is cool. You know, just being a real person at a convention. You know, and yes, obviously you get to fan out and you get to say, hey, I really enjoy the stuff that you make. Please keep making cool shit. But the whole point of going to a convention is to get to meet these people in person.
Yep.
You
I
know?
met Brian Polito when he first put out Evil Ernie. Him and Stephen
Heck yeah.
Hughes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, never got a chance to meet Steven. Steven died long before I got a chance to, you know, even meet Brian. I wasn't allowed to have Evil Ernie or Lady Death comics. All Chaos comics were verboten from the household.
Oh, really?
Yep. Had to get my Lady Death and Chaos comics collection afterwards. You know.
I didn't ever have that problem as a kid. Like, my parents, they were super supportive of me buying and reading anything as far as comics go.
Well, see, I grew up a voracious reader, and I grew up reading, you know, a bunch of Marvel stuff. You know, Spider-Man, Batman, and the Fantastic Four were the first 3 comics I was given by my dad.
Nice.
So, you know, they kind of had an idea of the type of comics that, you know, I normally read. So, you know, busty ass Lady Death and, you know, Death Face incarnate Evil Ernie. They're like, yeah, no. I can watch Total Recall and, you know, Demolition Man and shit like that with my dad. You know, Dark Man, but no Evil Ernie, no Lady Death. Sorry.
I think if people aren't familiar with it, if anybody hasn't seen the first couple issues of Evil Ernie, to go and read it. It's
for sure.
To me, it's not the same as what Lady Death is now.
Bingo, Maromi.
But it is more punk and metal to me. Those first couple issues, because
very much like an old slasher flick from like the late 70s, early 80s.
It's a zombie movie, you know. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
To me, as a kid, that was more grown up and mature, even though it is super immature looking at it now. But at the time, I thought it was so awesome. Like, it was more grown up. Oh,
for sure. And I mean, it still has its niche charm. You know, again, it reading the old issues like that, it feels like an old black and white, you know, slasher flick. You know, it's got the same kind of tempo and you know, themes and like the way it builds and the crescendos. You know, the story structure is very much like an old slasher flick, and I love it. You know, the story's kind of moved on from that, but yeah, there's a certain feel and texture to those stories that you know, you don't get anymore. Dr. Mass says his mom bought him comics and Black Sabbath T-shirts. Fuck yeah, go mom. She drew the line at the horror magazines with nudity, though. Well, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I wasn't allowed to have heavy metal until later on in life either.
God, to me, I remember going when Mom would go to the bookstore or whatever, and I would go to the magazines to look at the comics. I always feel like I was sneaking a peek looking in heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I think that also reminds me, I remember seeing a Bo Derek magazine for the first time as a kid, too, and just like, oh my gosh, Bo Derek. Like,
I have found something amazing.
I don't know.
And I can't be seen looking at it.
I know I'm not supposed to be looking at it, but this is incredible.
This is amazing. I know that I'm going to get in trouble if I get caught.
Yep.
That's fucking hilarious. Magazines. The old spinner rack, or the old magazine section in, you know, grocery stores, or it's just incredible, man. I used to love going into like gas stations and seeing the spinner rack there, see what they got. I mean, the grocery store. I bought my Venom Lethal Protector #1, newsstand edition from the grocery store. Just because we were there and I was bored and not wanting to walk around the grocery store, so I was hanging out in the magazine section, and there's Venom and all of his shiny red holofoil glory.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yoink! And I had apparently grabbed it before it got all messed up, because unfortunately one of the bad things about the newsstand is they had a tendency to get fucked up.
They got red.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's where kids went and read comics while mom and dad, did whatever they did at the grocery store. But I loved it because I would sit on the bottom shelf of whatever the magazine rack was next to the spinner and just sit and read comics.
Yep.
And then pick out what I really wanted to take home. So.
Heck yeah. Maromi is asking, did you have the bookstore with the British papers, page 3? I guess page 3 was where they had the comics in the British papers.
Probably did, and I remember Bookstop as a kid had all the newspapers from around the world, but I never caught on to looking in those,
Yeah. I was just paying attention to the comics that were in the in the spinner rack.
Yep.
I mean, but magazines, man. Magazines are kind of a thing of the past. There was nudity apparently in the British papers.
Oh, nice. There we go. Before I started going to my first comic shop, I remember my grandmother, without even knowing it, like she had no idea what she was buying, but I must have been like 6, 7. I picked up a Conan magazine,
Nice.
John Buscema in it, and when I got it home and started flipping through it, at that age, it actually kind of scared the crap out of me, because there was like dead people and skulls and stuff. So I remember I took it and I stuck it on my shelf underneath all my coloring books.
Yeah.
I sat there for the longest time until I was old enough to like not be afraid of it anymore.
Not be wigged out by all the murder and death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, Conan will do that to you.
Heck yeah. Especially Buscema Conan at that time.
Dude. Big John. Nobody drew Conan quite like Big John.
He was the Conan artist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you had Frazetta for the painted covers, and then for interior stuff, you had, Big John Buscema.
This new guy, I can't remember his name, from Italy, is doing a bang-up job doing...
on the Sumerian?
Yes.
Nice. Heck yeah. The license has gone from Marvel now. It's with Titan Publishing. Is that who has the rights to Conan now?
Yeah, it's actually like 3 people own the rights to Conan.
Oh wow. Okay.
3 separate people. It's really messed up because like one of them owns like the comic rights and the other claims ownership of the book rights and somebody else.
Lord.
So L. Sprague de Camp, the guy that dude did something that was kind of clever at the time. He took all of Robert Howard's original books,
right?
Because nobody technically really owned the copyright. He went in and re-edited them and cleaned up any like grammar or rewrote any phrases so he could technically have full ownership of Conan books. And that's how he kind of weaseled it away. You know what I mean? Like, and took ownership.
Interesting. I mean, I know Robert E. Howard didn't really have any family or an estate or anything like that.
No. So anyway, I'm really kind of a Robert Howard fan going way back, and he's also a fellow Texan. So
yeah, he was. Maromi says, I think it's public domain in Europe. And Dr. Mask says, public domain for all of Robert E. Howard stuff, as far as I know, may not be able to use the name Conan. I know that's why Titan was doing the Sumerian, is because they couldn't use Conan.
It's because L. Sprague de Camp's family is trying to hold on to the copyrights.
Yeah, but he didn't create Conan.
No, but if you use the original text versions of it, I think those are copyright free. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public domain is an interesting thing. I don't.
It is.
Sometimes I'm not necessarily sure I agree with it. Sometimes
that's what it is. Somebody has rights to the movie, somebody else the books, and somebody else the comics. So they're all like three parties trying to fight over it. That's why things don't ever get made into movies or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
What's up, our Luniverse? You were Texan too, Chad, says our Luniverse.
Yes, I am. I grew up in a small town north of Austin called Round Rock, which is no longer a small town.
Yeah. You want convoluted? Look into the Buck Rogers rights. That's why we have Star Wars, because George Lucas wanted to do Buck Rogers, and he couldn't get the rights to it, so he made his own thing, and that's how we got Star Wars. And just for the record, there are only 6 Star Wars movies, 3 of which are actually good. The original trilogy.
There's only one trilogy.
Chad's like, I'll do you one better. There's only one fucking trilogy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think visually, to me, the original trilogy compared to the prequels, visually is a different art style. Not because everything looks different. It's more of how the cameras and everything were set up. Because if you remember the first Star Wars, everything looks so massive and huge, and then other things so tiny and small, and you didn't have to see like hundreds of thousands of spaceships flying in space. You still got at it in your imagination. You visualized how big the Empire was.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So shots like out in the desert, you saw how tiny the robots were, or the droids were in the dunes and stuff. There was that look. Whereas if you go to any of the other Star Wars movies, that wasn't so much focused on anymore. It's more like how many laser beams can we cram into one shot?
They sacrifice cinematography for special effects.
But I think that's where things kind of got lost.
I agree.
Because they were limited at one time, and then when the sky's the limit, then it changed, But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Older movies have a lot more going for them than newer movies. Just storytelling, not just in the script and the stories being told, but the cinematography. It's all got to come together. Just like comics, you've got a story that you're trying to tell, but you've also got to tell that story with the visuals, and the visuals include, not just the line work and the, what's actually happening, but it also includes the colors. It also includes the fonts and all of that, the typography, all of this stuff comes together to kind of set a tone and a mood, and it builds the immersion.
Right.
The same is true for film.
Yeah, that's why 2001 and art styles of that era are really incredible, because they focused on, I can't explain it, but there was just an epic feel to the artwork at that era. Like Mobius was even doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I can't explain the visual.
No, I get it, man. The whole kind of retro future, we didn't realize that it would become known as retro future, but it was just a look at the future through the lens of the technology that we had at the time, and it created a unique feel for things. And again, cinematography, storytelling, it was it was a lot more prevalent. I don't know. I think there was a lot more magic in the world than there is today.
This is really dumb. I'm going to segue into this, but my wife's great uncle was the special effects wizard at MGM from like its heyday, like big.
Oh wow!
Yeah, his name was Buddy Gillespie. He was responsible for the special effects on Wizard of Oz and Ben-Hur and Forbidden Planet.
Heck
and,
yeah!
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
It is awesome. It's so weird. Like my kids, they have no concept of how cool that is. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I mean, classic films. Holy shit.
Yep.
Wow. Screaming Raven says Joseph Michael Linsner and Carrie Nord definitely don't get enough credit for their art on Conan. Yep. Carrie Nord did some good stuff when Conan was at Dark Horse. That's for dang sure. And Linsner's just always good. I just always enjoy his stuff.
Yep. I'm surprised he still doesn't do Cry for Dawn anymore.
I think he gets paid more to do covers for people. You know, I know that he did a Dawn Vampirella, but that was. I say it was you know, a little while ago, but it was probably something like 10 years ago, maybe more. You know, time has a tendency to compress when thinking about stories.
Man, I remember when Cry for Dawn was like a very niche but popular collectible comic at one time.
Yep. Put out by was put out by Sirius Entertainment, same people that put out Poison Elves.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Poison Elves, this is probably my favorite black and white indie comic of all time.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
Yeah, I fucking love that book, man, and I'm so excited that they're doing the oversized hardcovers with everything in there, so everybody can can read it. Yeah. So it's I've been meaning to ask: is the book color or is it black and white?
It's black and white. It's all
awesome.
Gray tones. And
yeah.
I did the first issue. I did spot color of red throughout, so like with blood and
right.
You know, like the Nazis had their banners; they were red.
Right.
You know. So I might do the spot color this time around too.
Okay. I mean, it looks good in black and white, and like I said, I do have a thing for black and white indie comics. To me, that just screams indie.
Right.
You know, I love it. There's something about black and white comics, just the simplicity of the line work.
Me
you know,
too.
in gray tones.
I love black and white and gray tones. I would like to get like so deep in the weeds as far as like doing the duotone like Ninja Turtles, you know.
Right.
At some point I want to get to that.
Maybe do a special edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually I might do color, but I'm not saying I'm doing it because it's just indie. I'm also colorblind. You wouldn't know it, but
oh, well, that definitely makes it a little more difficult to do color.
I'm very good at doing color. I just figured a way around it. I mean, it was,
awesome.
Like I've got a lot of color paintings, and people are surprised when I say I'm a third colorblind. How I learned to paint was the way the old masters do it in black and white and values.
Yeah.
And then overlay my colors on top.
Yeah.
Drew Struzan. Go ahead.
I mean, I was about to say that's the best way to do it. That way you get your tones and everything correct, and you know, yeah.
That's Drew Struzan did a DVD before he retired from doing movie posters.
Yeah.
He showed his entire process of how he does paintings with the Hellboy movie poster.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 2 hours long or more.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go find that.
It was $100 DVD when it came out.
Right.
And it was gifted to me by my mother-in-law like
nice
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I watched it, his entire process is he does everything in gray tones first.
Yeah.
The entire thing, and then overlays color. And that was, to me, was like the light bulb that went off in my head.
Heck yeah.
Of how to go about painting and get around my color blindness.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Tim Sale was colorblind as well.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I think probably more comic artists than we know of are colorblind.
I mean, it's not something people really talk about, so you're probably right.
Yeah.
But Dr. Mass says, no, it's in glorious black and white.
Glorious.
And Old Dirty Fatty says, don't interrupt the Drew Struzan story. What's up, ODF? Welcome. Yeah, Struzan is amazing. I mean, I was going to say was, but he's still around and kicking. He's just not doing work anymore. You know, he's doing his own thing.
I'm thinking that work's probably dried up, and he just went, I'm doing fine and need to just kick it back now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that he still has some of the original artwork and could sell some of it for quite a pretty penny. Sure. And I mean, if somebody really wants him to do a movie poster, I'm sure he still would. You just have to pay him a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. But well, we've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to say about Black Phantom or what's next for you before we wrap up?
No, I'm just gonna work on the next issue starting this next week, and help me get this funded. Well, it's already funded technically. I mean, but yeah, help me out, and like every penny I make is just going back into it right now. So
support indie comics, support an indie creator. This is how we get more good stuff. This is how we expand the market.
Yeah.
So yeah, chat, you guys are amazing. Chad, this was a hell of a lot of fun, man. You're always welcome to come hang out whenever you got a new book to pitch, and you're always welcome on Topicals as well.
Thanks for letting me just meander and ramble,
Of course, man. It's what we do on this show. Like I said, a couple of nerds at a comic shop talking about comics and the stuff we love. Yep. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Remember,
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.